Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings of peace be upon you and your family. Thank you for coming to the third episode of Raya Shokatfard, Searching for the Light, and I found Allah. Some of you may be curious about this search and about how I found Allah, and for that I would say be a little bit patient. I go step at a time, but I was thinking today actually something very important that I have to share with you, because it seems like when somebody want to talk about their lives, it seems to them that they want to talk about maybe the good time and the hardship. When it comes to hardship, it's really easy to blame somebody else or the world or the society on their troubles, and that's really easy to do. You get people's sympathy and you get people's, oh yeah, we understand what happened, may Allah bless you. And I mean, you could be a Muslim listening, maybe a non-Muslim. I'm hoping both sides can be listening. But I was really thinking that, and so many times I don't want to even do these episodes. I even do not want to write the book. Because why? Because there are times when I have not such a good feeling towards some people. Now, to expose their wrongdoing in this, whether it's my book or whether it's a video or whether it's a podcast, I don't want the end result to be so that Allah would be upset and angry with me. I only have one aim to do these episodes, and that is to bring lessons from my own life, the mistakes that I made in my own life, to be some kind of a motivation and understanding and lessons for other people. Maybe you are where I was in my 20s, and that's where I'm at right now in my episode. I'm still in my 20s. Perhaps you learn something, you hear something, you see something, and you just say, oh yeah, this is where I am. I have to maybe change my way of thinking. Maybe her future got affected because of some wrong decisions that she made. Well, I shouldn't be making. This is my intention. At the end of the day, I want these episodes to be sadaqa jariyah. That means an ongoing charity. When a person dies, they leave behind. Prophet, peace be upon him, he said, when you die, your family doesn't go with you, your wealth doesn't go with you, nothing goes with you, except for three things. Those three things is a child you left behind, children you left behind that they make dua for you. The other one is dua for you, that means they supplicate for you to God. And the other thing is that you leave behind something that people benefit from, knowledge, like that they benefit from. They continuously get benefit from the knowledge that you leave behind. And the other one is something, maybe a building, a mosque, a school, or something that's charitable that people benefit continuously. Use what you left behind, like you build a masjid, you build a school, you build an orphanage. This is also sadaqa jariyah, ongoing charity. So I'm hoping that what I am doing, these episodes, would be sadaqa jariyah for me, because I hope that people would benefit from this. I don't want this something that I benefit from it by just exposing somebody else, the wrongdoings that they did. It basically reminding myself my own wrongdoing or mistakes, and also right doings, the things that when Allah guided me, I did many good things that helped me. With the help of Allah, helped me to get where I am now. As you can see behind me, usually I have nature behind me. I have peace. I'm in Malaysia now, but this is 50 years later from where I'm going to be talking to you. So keeping that in mind, this episode that I'm talking about is the time in the U.S. that really started my trouble. This was the marriage. I had thought all along, searching for peace. I had spent some time in learning about Hinduism, going to the temples and meditating and everything, and then I had realized that they're worshipping many things, many gods with small g, and that never sat with me. It was not It's not what I was looking for. The God I was looking for was not there. The peace, yes, peace was in their minds, in their eyes, in their faces. But I was not only looking for peace, I was looking for God. I wanted to feel that, yeah, I wanted to feel, God is guiding these people. And I cannot say God is not guiding the Hindus, only God only knows. But from the actions, the worshipping so many idols, that I knew this was not my thing. And I went through so many different schools of thoughts, and the thing was called EST. That was the big thing. It was not religious. We would sit in a room like 500 people. They said this was probably the best propaganda, making money propaganda, because everybody had some kind of mental thing, and this would get really deep into people's past and their situation, and it dealt with it. It would bring things up where people would cry, people would scream, people would yell, and then they would encourage the participants to talk with the family, whoever is doing this to them, to deal with it, and even cursing them or anything like this has, like I said, nothing to do with religion. And so I went through a lot of these things, and I still was looking and searching, and I was in my late 20s by then. After I had gone through real estate, as I mentioned in the last episode, I was successful. I drove a Rolls Royce. I tasted money, but I did not taste fulfillment. Money is something, it's a devil. The more you have it, the more you want, the more you're not satisfied. I was not satisfied with what I had. And finally, when I met my husband-to-be at the time, in a real estate seminar, and I found him very, very smart, very intelligent. In fact, after a little while in the seminar, he started be the one to teach everybody, because it seemed like he knew more than the instructor. I was always attracted to knowledgeable people. We connected with each other, talked with each other, saw each other a few times, and within 6 months he proposed to me. But before accepting it, I was getting some signals that I ignored. This is something that I really want to bring to your attention, you young people that are interested to get married, whether you're men or women, whatever you are. If you're interested in marriage, please listen very carefully. You see, the Western style marriage is that people first are attracted to each other. They meet each other. There's some kind of an attraction. Then they connect with each other. They see each other. Sometimes they have sexual relationship with each other. Sometimes even they have children before they get married. I know such situation where a woman had 10 children with a man. They were still not married. They still wanted to make sure that this is the right thing to do if they got married. But that was an extreme. So attraction always was number one thing or is still in the Western countries, and unfortunately it has also become a norm within the Muslim countries. Why? Because men and women are a lot more free to meet each other, go with each other, date each other. It is the traditional marriage proposal is like it has become too old-fashioned. When in Islam, a man wants to get married, a woman wants to get, they put the word out. And when people find someone who also wants to get married, a man wants to marry a woman wants to, and they know someone, they kind of connect them together. So when these people meet each other through the family, not alone, through the family, the very first intention is marriage. The very first intention is marriage. It's not about dating each other. It's not about, all kinds of irrelevant thing at the first sight. The first important thing is, yes, there has to be attraction. They see each other, but they're not alone. They see each other. If they agree with the original attraction that is between man and a woman, then they give a signal, okay, let's go to the next step. Then they ask questions. They ask questions with themselves or through their families. about what are the future plans. Does one of them want to have children? Does the other one doesn't want to have? Does he want his wife to work, or she doesn't want to work, or does he want to leave the country? Many important things are brought right to the front, and they talk about it. It may be very clear, and they're attracted with each other, but the girl's family, they don't want their daughter to leave the country with the man who wants to leave the country. Or, I know in Egypt, this one brother asked me to help him find a wife. And it just so happened that I found a sister that I thought is suitable for him, for what he was looking for. And his condition was he wanted his wife to stay home. This is what he wanted. You know, I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm making enough to have a humble family, you know, humble life. I have an apartment. I just want my wife to be home, you know, with me, and then raise the children. So he goes to these people. They like everything they like about him, he likes about them, and then when he brings up the situation that he wants the wife to be at home, the parents is like, no way. We don't want our daughters to stay home. Do you know how much money we've spent to educate her? She has bachelor's degree, she has master's degree, she has got to work. We paid money so she can work, so she can be independent, she can be this. I mean, this guy listening to this, it's like, I am not shopping for degrees. I'm looking for a wife. He just packed up and left. He called me, he was so disappointed, and he said, Sister Raya, this is not the first one. It seems like most women that I have met, not just the women, the parents want her to work because they feel like it's lowly for a woman to be at home, to be a housewife, to be a mother. And unfortunately in Egypt that's norm, and now that in Malaysia that's even more of a norm. I see women have a baby within a month, they put the baby to a child care center and she's back to work. Well, I understand in some extreme cases there's no other choice. The mother has to earn a living, maybe the husband isn't there or it's not sufficient. Whatever the reason is, I have a really hard time to think that she cannot stay home if there's a husband involved. It reminds me when I married my husband, and I come back to my own marriage, but I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. It was at a time when he was not able to earn, not interested really. He was very able, was not interested to basically make the money, waiting for me. And I got pregnant, I was nursing a baby. It got to a point where, at the time, in the early 80s, 1980, we got married. Our expenses, monthly expenses, would you believe, was about $8,000 a month. $8,000 a month. And I was thinking that's not outrageous, you know, able to do it. I was making good money in real estate, and all of a sudden I get pregnant, I have a baby, and I didn't want to work anymore. I really wanted to be home. But money was not coming from him. And right here, I have to every time come back and look at my own expectation. I had high expectations. You know, at the time I still had a Rolls Royce, and I had expenses, but got to a point where it seems like pregnancy knocks some senses into my head. That I really wanted to be a wife, I wanted to be a mother, I did not want to, but this husband of mine, it just wasn't a possibility for him. I told him at one point, you know, if you go get a job at McDonald's and make $500 a month, I'm willing to give up this beautiful home, car, everything, and live in a shack, in a hut with you, that you are the one that raised the family's funds, you're the one that bring the money. I literally was willing to do it. I'm not just saying this. I wanted so much to not have so much stress, because at the time I had stress. I had stress, real estate. I said, you know, I'm dealing with real estate. I have the home, I had the business, I had everything going on. I wanted to stay home. No, that he didn't agree. He didn't agree. But these are the points that I want to bring up that causes problems later in marriage, because these things were never really truly discussed. I did mention before, because when he proposed to me, I did mention I want to have 2 children. He said he really wasn't interested in having children. It's responsibility, and he really does not want to have any responsibility. But he knew, he saw that I had a very serious face, serious look on my face, and he said, well, give me time to adjust to the idea. At this point, I'm not ready for this. I'm already like 32 years old, so it's not like I'm 20. Yeah, you can take your time. I was concerned, but again, I am attracted to him. He's attracted to me. I love him. He loves me. He said, give me time. It didn't ring a bell in my mind that he clearly was not interested in taking financial responsibility for the family. And again, I really don't want to, I don't want this to be a backbite, because for him that was real. He was not a bad person. He really was a good person, very intelligent. This is where he was at. What would have worked for him with that kind of a mentality is to have an American wife with American mentality. The wife works, the husband works, they support the family together, and it's like, this is more typical. He was expecting that, especially when I was the go-getter in real estate. I was putting deals together, I was bringing clients and everything. He was the thinker. I was the doer. So the thinker thought the doer and the thinker together, they can be a great combination. I also thought the same way. But the doer stopped doing because the doer got pregnant. The doer was nursing, and another child came later. So the thinker was not the doer. So again, these later on I came to realize, understand the mentality change is something that people don't realize at the beginning before they get married. They really have to tune into, what is she saying to me, or what is he saying? What are they talking about? Get deeper, understand more. And it's like my eyes were blinded because I was in love with this man. I loved him. I wanted to marry him. He wanted to marry me. And even I said to him, before I said okay to the proposal, I said, I really want to live outside of Los Angeles. I don't want to raise children in Los Angeles. That's where we live. I'd like to live away in the country, in the mountains and everything. So yeah, he said, that's what I like too. I said, to do that, to have a comfortable life, we really have to have $2 million in order to just have this and then establish ourselves. How does that sound to you? He said, it sounds reasonable. Well, I didn't know at the time that, he had not even made $10,000 a whole year. Again, I'm not trying to make him wrong. It's that I didn't ask the questions. I didn't ask properly. I just said, do you think we can make $2 million? He said, yes. I didn't ask more. I didn't ask enough. I did not tune into his verbal body language to know that this is completely out of question in his mind. But he would agree with anything that I would request so that I would say yes. And guess what? I said yes. So next thing you know, we were married. There's a lot more I want to say about this. Actually, this episode that I wanted to talk about is a lot more into our marriage and the things that happened, but I already came up with the ideas that you understand right at the beginning what I did wrong, because I was not practicing. I was like, somebody asked me, what is your religion? I would say, I'm Muslim, but without Islam. I didn't know. My parents were older. My brothers and sisters, everybody was married to non-Muslims, and I had no one. There are no Islamic centers. I didn't have guide. I did not have a guide. and I'm in my 20s. So the issues that come up and came up because of this marriage are very, very important to bring up, and I want to wait and talk about it in the next episode, so that you can first think about what I just said and maybe rewind this video or the podcast and listen to me again. If you are a marriage age, if your parents or anyone that you are related, you can somehow relate to someone who is interested in marriage, I just want to remind you to remind them or remind yourself to really tune in. Marriage is not something that you can just go in there and just walk out, even a lot of times with the children involved. And a lot of devastating results come out of this if you're not paying attention right at the beginning. I really appreciate that you're listening or watching this video. I would invite you to listen to the next episode. All the exciting things are going to be coming up, and I'm going to be talking about it. Hopefully that I would not backbite anyone. Hopefully that this would be something that we all can learn from, and asking Allah to forgive me if I have said or done anything wrong, and also to guide all of us to the straight path. Thank you again for listening. Have a nice day, evening. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.